1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. You read these words. When I was an infant at my mother's breast, I gurgled and cooed like any infant. When I grew up, I left those infant ways for good. Can I get you to stand? Say it one more time. When I was an infant at my mother's breast, I gurgled and cooed like any infant. When I grew up, I left those infant ways for good. Turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, it doesn't make sense. You may be seated.
My God.
Doesn't make sense.
My God.
We as a black race have killed ourselves on consistent basis. We have, to our detriment, forgotten about who we are and where we are going to and where we came from. The family structure has disintegrated in the black community. Not only has it disintegrated in the black community, but in a lot of communities, but I'm more concerned about the black community. There was a time when men were men. There was a time when men knew what it was to take care of a child that was theirs. Instead of saying, it's not mine. There was a time when relationships meant more than just a heated night out. Y'all know what I'm talking about. We have grown a generation of men who think that instead of men taking care of the women, men think that women ought to take care of us.
That was a time, Reverend.
Go ahead.
The family structure has changed. The reason why it has changed is simply because the family structure, when it comes down to men, sad to say, our ladies have had to play both roles. They've had to be the mother and the father. It's a shame, but it's the truth. Our black women have always been strong. And if it were not for the black women, I don't know where we would be.
That's right.
It is hard for a black woman to teach a man to be a man. There is no way that a woman can teach a man to be a man. Because though some women think they are men and try to act like they are men,
You're on your own. Hold your hope.
I thought you ought to know that your genes will never be like my genes.
That's right.
I thought you ought to know that.
That's right.
And while I'm on that subject, also, men, I think you ought to know that your genes will never be like a woman's genes.
On the road, Doc.
But because of the mere fact that women were the ones who have been the ones who have had to hold the family structure together, there has been a breakdown in how men or boys are raised. And so it is not the woman's fault that boys raise up, look forward to trying to find a woman like mama.
I hear you, man.
But mama can never do for me what Mrs. Cox
That's right. That's right.
can do for me. But on the other hand, and don't get me wrong, brother, and I'm not trying to downgrade us, because there are some black men
Here's one, Doc.
who know how to take care of a family.
That's right, brother.
It's evident that there are black men who know how to take care of a family, and it's evident that their sons have learned how to take care of women. But we're talking about the majority.
Yeah.
When we look at the structure of the family, there was a time, like Mama Davis and Sister Phil said, there was a time when everybody took care of a child, even though it wasn't your child. There was a time when a young person didn't walk by a grown-up without saying hello. Without saying no sir and yes sir, no ma'am and no ma'am. Now the young people seem to think, along with the land, that if you hit a child, they will call Child Protective Service. But I'm from the old school where it says, spare the ride, you'll spoil the child. I turned out pretty good, and I caught many a butt whippings. You got to learn how children need to have discipline. What did I say? Children need to have discipline. But it is hard for the mother to discipline a son, because when that son gets to be 16 or 17 years old, he thinks he's a man. I don't care how well a mother tries to discipline. I've heard some mothers say, I brought you in this world and I'll take you out of this world. But there's a difference. And so, and what we have is we have children trying to raise children. We have statistics will tell you that the majority of our black boys are in jail, hanging out on the corner, and some of them don't know what they are. And if you don't know what you are, how can you ever be what God intends for you to be? The text says, when I was a child, I thought as a child. And black brethren, you can't continue to think like a child. And as long as you think as a child is always in the gimme position. And ladies, I have to fault you also, especially our young ladies. Why are you giving? If the brother can't pick you up on his own, kick his behind to the curb. If he wants to get to you and he loves you like he says he loves you, he'll crawl to your door. I wish somebody would talk to me here. He'd crawl to your door. You don't have to go pick him up.
What'd you say, man?
There's no such thing as a Dutch. You pay your half and I'll pay my half. That's not a man. Go ahead. If a man can take you out, he can pay for it even if he have to sit there and watch you eat.
That's good, man. That's good, Doc. That's good, man.
You hear that, Mom? No more Dutch for you and Faith.
That's a man.
A man is one who will go without.
Yes, we will.
He will not go downtown and buy a brand new suit knowing his child don't have any milk. That's a man. That's a man. A man will not watch his son act a fool to his mama. And ladies, if you can't respect a man's mother, there's no way in the world you can have my children. Because ultimately you will not respect me nor my children. And ladies, watch what you wear. If I don't have nothing to imagine, why do I want it? I mean, I can just think about it, and there it is. I don't have to think. I can see it. And ladies, the song Woman to Woman, that's a bad philosophy. The car he drives, I'll pay for it. The clothes he wears, I'll pay for it. What kind of foolishness is that? But that is how society is today. Come here. I've learned when I fell in love, people say they fall in and out of love. You don't fall in and out of love. Because if you love, let me put it to you like this. I didn't spend a lot of money. I turned in my player's card. But the only woman I spent a lot of money on is the lady sitting right up here. Men and boys cannot be what they need to be if they have not seen how to act. If they have never seen another man being nice to a woman, how do you expect them to be nice? If they have, I can recall my mother and daddy. Mother and daddy, they might have fussed, but I always saw daddy kiss mama every once in a while. Always saw daddy, I love you. Affection is, brethren, listen good. Affection is what women thrive on. Y'all don't have to talk, ladies. Am I telling the truth? And it's hard sometimes. We can't be what we've never seen. But then on the other hand, ladies, I know some men are dogs, but not all. Give some of the nerds a chance. The ones with the eyeglasses. The ones who's going somewhere. The ones who got the pants down all the way down to their butt, they ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't got nothing on their mind except getting inside of you know what. But give the nerds a chance. I don't have to be a doctor. But my daddy did not even get a high school education. Did y'all hear what I said? My daddy did not get a high school education. But my daddy was the first black certified ship fitter at Avondale shipyards. So ladies, just because a man doesn't have a college degree, that don't make him a man. If he's going to work and come home. Same thing for y'all too. If y'all going to work, come home. You will discover that there's a change. Then finally, when I put away my childish thoughts, number one, I know where I'm going. Number two, I know who I am. And number three, yes, I'm going to look for the qualities that my mother had to find a woman to marry. Notice what I said, the qualities. I'm going to say that one more time, the qualities. I was born in 1952. I want to thank you, sir. But I was born in 1952. And I can remember how things were. Y'all look at me, oh, he's cocky, he's this, he's that, and other. But we was poor. Y'all know what poor is? That's poor. We could spell the word poor. And I had to laugh at Sister Fields as she was talking about the cheese. But I remember the government peanut butter. All the oil was on the top of the can. Remember that, Dr. Brian? What you had to do, y'all not up in there. What you had to do was you had to get the spoon and stir it up. Oh, come on, y'all talk to me. You had to stir it all the way up from the bottom so that it could actually be Jiffy peanut butter. And I remember we'd put that peanut butter together on that bread, and you spread that peanut butter. And if you really wanted something sweet, you didn't have all of the bottom section of the stove was your toaster. Oh, y'all know, do y'all remember that? The bottom section of your stove was the toaster, and you would get some butter and you would spread a little sugar. Come on now. Y'all don't know what I'm talking about. And you spread a little sugar on that, and you pop it into the oven. You call it cinnamon toast. Oh, we thought we was doing something. And then, y'all remember the bologna, don't you? You put that bologna in the skillet. Oh, come on. And you would let it crinkle up. And you'd put it on a piece of bread. Oh, that was good eating, wasn't it? Don't forget about the government cheese. Sometimes I think we've gone too far and we've forgotten where we've come from. And sometimes what upsets me here at the church, if I'm talking to your child, you got the nerve to get mad at me. I really don't care. Because that child has no business doing what that child is doing. And there's certain things we call it discipline. And if you can't discipline your child at home, well, doggone it, he will be disciplined here at this church. And I expect every grown adult to discipline a child because this is a village. We got young men here at this church. Don't know what a daddy is. They come here. And we need to help them. So that they can get to where they need to go. Discipline and love. You can't just discipline somebody and never show love. When I put away my childish thoughts in finishing, I want to leave a legacy behind. When I die, I want my children I want them to cry. But I want my children to say, I sure had a good daddy. I sure had a good mother. But I want to leave them something behind. Sacrifice and buy you some insurance. Buy insurance and don't buy insurance. When you're dead, you're dead. Don't spend it all on a funeral. Leave a legacy behind. Everybody else does it. And as I close, my daddy, and what I like about my daddy is a proud daddy. Proud daddy. I remember one time I went to high school, John F. Kennedy Senior High School, and they had just started segregation. And I was the first black baseball player on the team. Y'all didn't know that, huh? But anyhow, I was. And we played a team from Chalmette, Ku Klux Klan country, in Chalmette. And they had some kind of a picture. And it was the last inning, and the score was 2-1 in their favor. And that guy struck me out twice. And my daddy has y'all know I have a big mouth, don't you? But my daddy has the biggest mouth, I believe, in the world. And the boy that was pitching, apparently, it was his father sitting close to my daddy on the other side. And daddy goes on to tell a story. He says he's going to strike that out again. That's how it was. And Daddy hollered, come on, son. Come on, son. My boy gonna hit that ball. Strike one. Strike two. Come on, son. Come on. But that's how the Lord is. Come on. Look like when you down to your last, the Lord is still hollering, come on, son. Come on, son. Can I get a witness in here? Come on, son. And I'm standing up there at the plate. Coach on the sideline. There's a man on base. Coach on the side. No, there's two men. We had two men on the base. Two out. Come on, son. Come on, son. Coach is encouraging me, and I'm saying to myself, this boy done struck me out twice. He done struck me out twice on a curveball. I think he gonna throw another curveball. Sometimes you gotta remember what you done gone through. And so I stepped back a little bit further in the batter's box because, you know, the curveball goes, but at one point or another, it breaks. That's how the devil is. At one point or another, God will make sure that he breaks. And that pitcher threw that curveball. And I stood there and I waited on the break. And I hit that ball. Y'all know where that ball went? That ball started climbing. Daddy will tell you the story. That ball started climbing. Come on. And the ball went over the fence. Home run. I didn't forget to touch home plate. In your life, you can touch first base, second base, third base, but it's the grace of God that will help you to get to home. And we're going to sing this little song, and we're going to get up out of here.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. I was blind, but now I see. Oh, yes, it was. I can see y'all. Oh, yes, I was. Hallelujah, y'all. You see, he changed me, rearranged me. Oh, yeah. Oh, I can see right now. Yes, I can. Oh, I was blind. But now I can see it. Oh, yes, I will. Thank you, Lord. I can see, yes, I can. I was blind. I could not see, but the Lord, he let me see it. And I want to thank him, y'all. I was blind, could not see, but the Lord gave me my sight again. I was lost in this world. Oh yes, I was. The Lord did it for me. The Lord, He did it for me. Yeah. I can see right now. Yeah. Yes, I was. But now, thank you, Jesus. I can see. I can see. Yeah. Yeah. I was blind. Anybody was blind one day. But thank the Lord, He lifted you up. Yes, He did. Mother told me, son, always keep your hand in the Lord's hand. Yeah, yeah. But now, I can see it.
I see.
Oh, yes, I can see y'all. I was blind, y'all. I was blind, y'all. But I can see, I can see, I can see, I can see, yeah, yeah. Help me deliver us. I was blind. Oh, but now. Oh, yes, I can. Anybody ever been blind? But the Lord saved your life. Yes, He did. Why don't you touch somebody and tell your neighbor, the Lord did it for me. Yes, He did. Oh, yes, I was. I was lost in this world of sin. Yeah, yeah. Yes, I was. I was blind, but thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. I can see it. Yeah, I was blind. Oh, yes, I was. I was blind. I can see. I can see. I can see. I can see. Oh, yeah. I can see.
And because of His grace and because of His mercies, I'm able to say that God is still a mighty good God. Is He a mighty good God? Is He a mighty good God? He brought me through, and I can see. Can I get you to stand with me? Repeat after me. This week, Lord, you're going to bless me.
You're going to bless me.
You're going to open some doors
You're going to open some doors
that have been shut.
that have been shut.
You're going to cause my enemies
You're going to cause my enemies
to be my footstool.
to be my footstool.
And I'm going to walk
I'm going to walk
in the fog,
in the fog,
in the favor
in the favor
of God.
of God.
Put your hands together. Give the Lord a hand praise, won't you? Please be seated.